What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 67 of the Pucking Around podcast, the good, the bad, and the referees. We're going to continue on with our coverage of the NHL playoffs as they progress through this amazing first round. With me to discuss it, I have the normal Brute Squad with me, minus one special individual in the form of Matt Norton. I got Mr. Eric the Handsome Mansome over there, filibuster. You know him, you love him. He's from the Fire podcast. I got Rick Seligman, the man, the myth, the legend himself from the How Normals podcast.
You said my name wrong, but okay.
Whatever. You're going to be nitpicky with that? Are you just having a bad day? I understand.
It's my name, but okay.
I understand your Canadians are down 3-1 in your series, but don't take it out on me, Chief. And you're going to chirp City? And last and most certainly least, Alex the Fern Gully Fournette from the Hab. Yeah, not from the Hab. Holy crap.
From Hab Normals.
From the Flyer Are Gonna Flyer podcast. Everybody say hello to the people.
This is why we sometimes pull you from the intros, because you're getting not me syndrome in botching things.
Listen, Rick had me all fucked up with the whole "that's not my name" thing. Like I don't give a shit, dude. Like just let me roll, let me cook. And just let it happen.
I got slapped in the face being called a Habs fan.
Where's Lincoln's?
I say your name wrong, Sakarzik.
I don't
Sakarzik. That's what I'm gonna call you.
I don't like that. See, even Ray barked at that. He didn't like that shit.
You didn't say my name.
I feel like Eric's got the only last name that's very easy to say.
Even your dog's pissed at you. Like,
she's standing up for me. I'll turn my mic off because there's dogs barking outside.
Thank God for that. Now we don't have to listen to him talk. Fellas, how we doing? Well, out of the 3 of the 4 of us here, both of our teams are out of the playoffs, so we continue to bitch about that. So
I will
Rick's the only one living the dream.
I will say I am very surprised none of these series ended yet. I thought there would be at least one sweep, and we have 4 series at 2-2, all in the Western Conference. Wow. 3 series in the East at 3-1 and 1 at 2-1 that's currently playing as we speak. I don't know what the score is, but I'm not even going to look at it right now. But we've got one hell of a playoffs right now. This has been a lot of parity, a lot of even plays, and a lot of old talk of some tendencies that have appeared in prior playoff series. Edmonton, a playoff hellebuck that have been popping up just in general. Not in prior series, but just in general.
In the last 2 games in the St. Louis-Winnipeg series, Winnipeg's been outscored. I think it's been 12. I think the score was 12-3, like in total. That's bad. And then Hellebuck was pulled the last game, right?
I said
the last 2, I think.
I didn't see him pulled in the other one. Yeah, I didn't know. I only watched one of the 2 in St. Louis. And
Eric is accurate on that. And it's crazy because I said on this show last week, playoff Hellebuck might be finally beating the allegations because he only had 1 bad period in that first game against St. Louis. And then here he goes. The series shifts over to St. Louis, and he defecates all over himself again. Just like we know. His save percentage, I think, in the playoffs is like 880 right now. It's bad.
I think, I was listening to Spit and Chicklets. The boys said it too. Like, you might as well throw Olmark in that category as well. I mean, he hasn't been phenomenal in that series either. I mean, he's made a couple good saves, but some of those, I mean, gosh, you wish you really would have had that, or, you really wish you would have caught that, and not to pivot immediately to the Toronto-Ottawa series. And I'm not, we'll still stay on Winnipeg and St. Louis, but I think he's in that category now too.
He's Eastern Conference Hellebuck.
Yeah. I actually don't think Allmark's been that bad. I know he's let in 1 or 2 softies, but all in all, I think he's been actually pretty good. And
I think it's more of a combination of what you saw back when he was in Boston and kind of a little bit of the carryover. He hasn't been as bad as he was in the Florida series last year. But when I look at current Olmark now, there has been some softies he's let in, but you're facing an offensive juggernaut in Toronto. So I can understand having games where you allow 3 or 4 goals. I will say I'm happy Ottawa prevented that from being a sweep because now we can maybe hope for a reverse sweep. I personally doubt. I think Toronto does end it in 5.
Yeah.
But not to pivot too much in that series. Staying on the topic of St. Louis.
Oh, I had a good stat for the draft. Go ahead.
We'll definitely get to that, Rick. I mean, we'll touch base on Ottawa and Toronto next, I guess, because they're two. I mean, with Winnipeg, it's been a shift. I mean, now St. Louis made it a series. I mean, Winnipeg embarrassed St. Louis the first game. Second game was a lot closer. Third game, still not. I mean, it wasn't really a close game. It was a good game to watch if you're a St. Louis fan. And then game 4, my God, like nothing was stopping St. Louis that game, man. Like that's turned into a great series to watch. I thought after seeing game 1, it was going to be awful for St. Louis.
Honestly, I don't even think game 1 was that bad. The game was a 1-goal game going into the final minute until Winnipeg caught in an empty netter. That game was back and forth as well. Winnipeg put in a goal to give them a 1-goal lead with like a minute and a half to go, if I remember correctly. That was
all I'm gonna say with respect to that series. Winnipeg better not go to a game 7 because Binnington, like Vasilevsky, is really good in game 7s. So I mean, Binnington has a tendency to stand on his head in that. So if I'm Winnipeg, you got to close it out at 6.
Sometimes playoff series you win at home up until game 7, or you win on
2011
the road up until game 7. That happens a lot where that's it. You win at the home team wins or the road team wins.
2011,
and then game 7 is up in the air and you never know.
Boston Bruins 2011. I'll say it for the third time. It's that's bound to happen. I personally didn't have St. Louis making it out of this round, but I mean they're making it really difficult for Winnipeg, and I think now Hellebuck something's in his head, and he needs to figure that out real quick. Because I don't know who the backup is over there. Not that great. I mean,
Comrie, isn't it?
Eric Comrie.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? You're going to start Eric Comrie over your likely Vezina winner this year? No, you can't. So what's the there's got to be coaching adjustments, and Montgomery I think has made them, and I don't know who the head coach of Winnipeg is off the top of my head, but I don't think he really has. Yeah, well, I don't think he has. So I think it's also a coaching issue. But as much as it is with Hellebuck. Right? Good series it's turning out to be. I thought it was going to be a dud. I thought the Vegas one was going to be a dud too. I'm like, Christ.
Playoffs, right?
I told you with Vegas, don't sleep on Minnesota. They were down Eriksson and Kaprizov for quite some time. Those were 2 different teams you saw from what they had beforehand to what they have now. I know Vegas won game 4 in overtime, but I think Minnesota's outplayed them overall this series.
Real quick on Minnesota, Kaprizov and Boldy are on a absolute heater. So they're tearing into Vegas, and it's awesome to watch for a team like they're the Leafs of the West. We joke about Ullmark being the Hellebuck of the East, and now you look at Minnesota, who has struggled getting out of the first round, similar to the Leafs. It's good to see. But back to Winnipeg in their place. I still think Winnipeg barely edges out of this if Hellebuck can get out of his own head, and then you might see Winnipeg make a play for the final, but it's going to be a hard one.
I don't know. It seems to me like it's a bunch of series that are going the way I said. The home teams are winning because that's you get an advantage at home, right? So I think a lot of these series, and in my bracket, I picked a lot of them to go to 7 games. And that's where you get that, who knows what the hell's going to happen. So I just think it's one of those years where, the home teams are winning a lot.
Pivoting to the Toronto-Ottawa series, because that one we can talk about too, because, I mentioned Ullmark being in, Alex further explained that too, that he's basically the Hellebuck of the East. I'm glad that didn't go to a sweep, because if you give Toronto that much rest, I mean, I get a little concerned. I mean, sure, they'd have to shake off a little bit of rust against, the eventual winner of the Tampa Bay, Florida series.
Can I use my stat now?
Sure.
In the last 13 opportunities that Toronto has had to close out a series, 13 times, they've lost 12 of them.
It's bad.
So, if I'm Toronto, like say Ottawa wins the next game, you got to think the Toronto
That's
players,
when you get nervous.
The guys that have been here for a few years and had no success have to start in the back of their mind, like, can we do this? Can we actually do this? And that's where things get that's where it goes downhill. They grip their sticks tighter, and they just don't play the same.
I think if Ottawa wins Game 5, that series is going to go 7 games. Because then you win. You show that you can win in Toronto. You showed that you could win in your own home arena. You can easily push 7 games if you win Game 5. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Toronto in Game 5.
Yeah.
Not so much on Game 6, because then they could say we'll have another game and it's at home. Still, if I'm Toronto and I'm Greg Berube, I'm hammering, my team and saying don't lose composure, which he has been doing. He did it in Game 1, I think. When Mark Savard got excited on the bench after they scored a goal, sure, get excited.
That stat I just gave, the pressure is on Toronto, not being able to close out the series and going the next. The pressure is on them.
I think the pressure is on Toronto regardless. I mean, they know they can get out of a round for sure because they did it against Tampa in 6 games.
They sort of know.
But they have the confidence, and they did get the demon off their the chip off their shoulder rather, and they slain that demon. But it was in 6 games. They have yet to do it in 7 games. So it's definitely something to look out for. I don't know if Brady Tkachuk is playing at 100% health, but Toronto looks good in this series. Now, how are they going to look against their next opponent? Well, that's going to remain to be seen. 3 out of their 4 games have gone to overtime, and it's Ottawa. And I don't mean to say Ottawa is a bad team. They earned their spot where they are, but they're definitely not Florida or Tampa.
No, but you're right, Cam. Like the last 3 games all went to overtime. They're all like this series could easily be look, granted, I think Toronto's had the better play throughout the whole series so far. Now, if you remove Game 1 out completely, where Ottawa was just completely undisciplined and they just got killed on the power play, all the games were really close. This could easily be 3-1 Ottawa as it is 3-1 Toronto.
Let me ask. Go ahead, Eric.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a bounce here or there. This series could be either tied or leaning the other way. But I have to say the one thing, because this I have to say out of all the series is the one I've probably watched the most and paid the most attention to. There's just something about Toronto. They just look different. They're playing a lot. They don't look as nervous as they looked in the past. They look sharp, man. They really look sharp.
Say it. I said
we'll
the same
see
thing.
Game 5. We'll see in Game 5.
Yeah.
I listen. I said it in our group chat, and this is a bold prediction. I know. I think Toronto will get out of the series. We'll see for sure, but I do think they'll get out of the series. I originally picked them in 6, but if Toronto, and this is a massive if, because I know the task that they have next is going to be a lot more challenging, assuming they move on.
That's an understatement.
Yes, a lot more challenging than what they're facing right now. If they can somehow get that Florida or Tampa Bay silverback gorilla off their back, they're going to win the cup. And I really don't want to say that.
No, got to get out of the first round first.
Listen, I
don't care.
I think they're overstating it a little bit.
One first round series is not getting the gorilla.
I want to give Toronto credit one thing. Their top 4 point getters right now are indeed their big 4. Nylander in 4 games has 7 points, a goal and 6 assists. I'm sorry. Marner has a goal and 6 assists and 7 points. Nylander has a goal and 5 assists. Matthews has a goal and 4 assists. And Tavares has 3 goals, 2 assists. And you also got 3 goals from Matthew Nines. Mind you, they're going to have to pay Nines a good amount of money.
$8 million.
Watch that RFA contract this offseason.
$8 million.
Yeah.
I think it might be more than that with the cap.
Toronto. $8 million is 12. 8 is 12.
They might pay him
It's going to be $8 million. I think you're going to be crazy if you think he'll get more than $8 million. I don't think it'll be much more than 8.
Listen, he's 23 years old.
It's not going to be much more than 8
points and 29 goals this year. He's going to put. He could easily. He's not even scratching the.
How many points did you say?
For what you think he's going to be.
I think they'll give him $8 million. I think it's going to be a stretch to give him more than that because then what do you do? But I have a question.
Marner or Tavares is gone. I'm already booking that. I think it's going to be Marner, but that's fine. I'm making that assumption, assuming Marner walks.
So
Marner's. I think Marner's going to go, and Tavares' big salary is going to be gone.
yeah,
But Tavares
Tavares will
only
probably
signed a
sign
short
7-8
deal.
million. Tavares might get
7-8
the
million.
Tavares might get the Tavares had a great year this year. I mean,
Yeah,
Tavares
43
might get
goals.
Tavares might get the Stamkos deal where it's I think 4 years at 8. He might get that.
He might get a little more than that with the cap going up. It might be closer to 9.
I don't know.
He won't get what he made before, but I think he'll push 9.
For an aging guy like that, I understand that.
I bet it's a year less though, like
No
3 years.
Stanley, yeah, but no Stanley Cup, like nothing to really speak on it. Just aside from his points production, hasn't really made a name for himself in the playoffs. I mean, the only reason why Stamkos got that $8 million because I think he has 3 cups. Like
2.
it's 2. Sorry. So I mean, that's the reason why he got that money. So I'd lean very close to 8, not really much more.
I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto actually goes long term with Tavares to keep the number down. I could see like a 6 by 6.5. Because
I don't think he'd take 6.5.
Similar to the Tanev deal that happened
How
in
old is
Dallas.
Tavares? How old is he?
I mean,
he's
in
34, if I'm
Toronto,
not
yeah, something
mistaken.
similar to Tanev deal.
He's 34, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
bring him to 40. If you give him 6
Oh,
years,
that's what a mistake, though. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah, that would
they're
be
not
similar
gonna
to the
do that.
Tanev deal. But the thing is, I feel better with that contract than the Tanev contract for sure.
because like look at it this way, Toronto. You know, like your window. If you keep like, let's say you do keep Marner or whatever, their window is maybe the next 3 to 4 years. So like the back end of that contract, you're not worried about it. Like who gives a shit at that point?
Yeah, I
And
get
either way,
what
you
Eric's saying.
don't know
Well-
you don't know what the cap's gonna be at in like 5-6 years. It could be like at 120, 125 million. Who knows?
Could
And
always
Toronto
buy it
has
out.
money.
Maybe, but they also have other contracts that'll be expiring within that time frame. I mean, it's a big question for Toronto, but that's in the off season, and that's a time when we can debate and talk about that and how much the contract values are going to get. I have a question for you guys regarding that series. If the Leafs lose Game 5, do you start Stolarz or do you go to Woll?
I'm running Stolarz still. I don't think he's played that bad. I'm still running Stolarz even if they lose Game 5.
Yeah.
Unless if he allows like 8 goals. But if he has a game where they lose like 3-2, I'm still running Stolarz.
I actually
Now, if
thought
they lose
should've-
Game 6, that's a better conversation to have. Although then again, if you think about it, do you want to throw in Wolf cold in a Game 7? Honestly, at this point, I think I'm running Stolarz the whole way, unless the Stolarz gives up like 7 or 8.
It damn near worked against Boston last year. That's why I ask.
I actually thought they should have started Wool last game. You were up 3-0. You had nothing to lose. You put in Wool. He's been good for you all year. If you lose, you lose. You know, at least. But and then you can always go back to Stolarz.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think you got to ride. Still, he's been playing excellent. He hasn't really showed any cracks in his game so far. So, but that's the problem, right? Is because like perfect example is Boston. What was it 2 years ago when they started Omar the first 6 games and then went to Swayman in Game 7?
Mhm.
Like if you're gonna run a tandem, run a tandem. Like don't overplay one goalie because. You know, what was the max amount of games that goalie played in a row all year? Now you're going into the playoffs. You're not going to start this guy for like 20, if you make the finals, whatever, 26 straight games or whatever it is, you know? So.
Well, that was the critique on Swayman, too. They're just like, oh, well, you haven't won us a series. I'm like, well, I've only played 1 or 2 games. You haven't really let me as a starter. So I'm just like, what do you want me to prove? And then he stole you. He stole you that Toronto series last year. There's no question. He stole that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if anyone wants to badmouth that, but that again, that's last year. And the winner of Ottawa is nowhere near Tampa or Florida, in my opinion, in terms of that depth
I
that
agree.
those teams possess. So, and
agree.
if Ottawa is taking Toronto to overtime, I am. If I'm Toronto, I am scared. Or if I'm Toronto fans, I should say, I'm afraid of that matchup because Vasilevsky still really good.
Mm-hmm.
You got a really good depth, like, you know, in Tampa and Florida, and you got you got really 2 good coaches in John Cooper and Paul Maurice, and obviously, like, you know, Toronto has Greg Berube, but you know, man, that's going to be one hell of a coaching battle. That'll probably be the whatever that matchup is in the second round. That's probably going to be the series to watch.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that. One thing, just to go back this St. Louis Winnipeg real quick because I did want to mention this one statistic before we hopped over to Toronto. This is actually going to sound crazy, you guys. Do you know who St. Louis's leading point getter is so far in the playoffs?
It's probably a depth player.
Anyone got any guesses?
I don't know their roster inside and out to actually make a good
Buchnevich?
educated guess.
Nope.
But I know it's not. No, I know it's not Buchnevich, but he was on hat trick watch within the first 2 minutes of one of the games, which is
You're going to be
awesome.
shocked when you hear who the name is.
No, well, let's go, buddy. Let's hear it. Shock me.
Cam Fowler.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Love it.
Cam Fowler, who they just
Love it.
acquired in a trade a few
Player.
weeks ago. That's
Love it.
awesome.
Underrated trade.
Love it. Cam
Didn't
Fowler's
you
a
get
great
second for
defenseman.
him? He's got
Cam Fowler's a great-
goal and 7 assists. He's tied for 4th in total points in the playoffs this year. He's
Cam
a
Fowler's a-
playmaking machine.
Cam Fowler has
Buchnevich is second, though. That wasn't a bad guess, by the way. That was not a bad guess. Why are we getting critics for that? It wasn't a bad
because I've been trying to get a word in edgewise. I feel like I have to raise my
What a
hand.
word, babe. Shut up.
Yeah, I feel like no, Cam Fowler is going to be like Brandon Montour because Brandon Montour, I believe, also came from Anaheim. So like they do have good defensemen there. So I mean, Cam Fowler was a good steal for that team. I'm not shocked. It's exactly like what happened with Brandon Montour in Florida. It's exactly kind of how I expected. It's a great team, you know, and they're also being coached by a really good coach. Thanks a lot, Cam and Don, for fucking that one up again. Bums. Losers. I swear to God, if St. Louis goes on and wins the cup, I am at a loss for words.
2 cup-winning coaches you fired.
Don't.
if you did that.
I can't. I might actually drive to TD and slap something on the table in front of Don and Cam and be like, "You need to do something about this," because it is flaccid, like so flaccid. If they end up doing that, I don't know, man.
I thought this was a family show.
It is. We are a family, and this is a show. Oh, I even got crickets. Toronto's going to face the winning. Oh my God, the winners of the
Winnie the
Tampa. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. The winners of the Tampa Bay, Florida series. And that has actually turned into a series. It's the only series that's played 3 games. It's kind of disgusting. Like they need to really
Well, they're playing as we
Pick that up.
speak right now. I don't know what the score is, but as we record this, they're in a game.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think Florida wins that series. To be honest with you, I mean, it's been a great series to watch. Has anyone seen did anyone see that Barkov hit from
The Hagel Barkov, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got a little bit of retaliatory stuff from was it Tkachuk who hit
Tkachuk.
who did he
Gensel.
hit?
Cancel.
Gensel. Who it was.
There's no score, by the way, in the game.
By the way, I didn't think either of those hits were 5-minute majors.
I think the Hagel one was.
The Hagel one, yeah.
The Hagel, that because he didn't even have the puck.
Neither
At
did
least you can
Gensel.
argue with the Tkachuk hit. It was late, but
Yeah.
at least Gensel had the puck maybe like a second and a half prior.
Well, I mean, when you slow
Glad
it
that
down,
Tkachuk hit didn't get
When
a
you-
suspension. The Hagel hit that absolutely deserved. That was flat.
I don't know. I know it was definitely interference, but I don't know if the Hagel hit was a major. I don't know if the Tkachuk hit was a
if it was
major.
bang bang like he got rid of the puck, kind of like what Getzel did, I would have been fine with it. It wouldn't have been suspension worthy. It's the sheer fact that he never touched the puck. That makes
He
it
had
good.
the puck entering the zone. That was
No, he didn't. He never touched it. It was confirmed.
I believe he dumped it in. I thought I saw someone possessing it.
Barkov never touched the puck when Hagel lit him up.
I mean, I'm not arguing. I mean, it was a penalty for sure. I'm not going to argue that. I don't know. I just didn't see both those hits as major.
And Barkov got injured. He didn't finish the rest of the game. Now, mind you, he came back next game.
Yeah.
But the sheer point is he was out for the rest of the game. And he was a hit on a guy who didn't have the puck, a defenseless guy. He missed the intent to injure. I think it had everything he needed for a 5-minute major.
I don't know if there was intent to injure. I mean, he definitely hit him in a bad spot, but I don't think he was intending to hit him into the boards as hard as it was. I think it was just a bad hit.
Eric, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say I think the Hagel hit just looked worse live in the moment. Because if you look, because I remember when I first saw the hit, I was like, "Holy shit, this guy's gonna get like 5 games at least." Because it looked like, if you saw it live, like it looked like he left his feet, and then it looked like he got him in the chin, and like you said, he didn't have the puck. But then obviously you slow it down, it's like he only left his feet once he made contact, so it was like kind of like a follow through. And then he never hit him in the chin. He just got him like really close to the shoulder. So yeah, like honestly, I don't know if I would have like because I think he got a 5 minute in a game, right? During the game, or was it just a 5 minute major?
I believe they both Kachuk and Hagel got ejected for the play.
They both got majors. I know. I think Tkachuk got a 5-minute major. I think Hagel's was a match penalty, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
one of them was.
Anyway,
But it didn't matter
honestly,
with Tkachuk. There's like 6 minutes left in the game.
I mean, both hits were through the body. That much I'll say. Like, you know what I mean? Kachuk's hit was through Gensel's, chest. I believe Hagel's hit was through the side. I don't think any of them were head contact.
No.
You could make an argument that, Hagel may have lifted his feet, but I mean, the reffing too. I mean, look at the Washington series. There's been a couple hits where Tom Wilson looked like he actually leapt into a couple Canadiens players and nothing was being called. Yeah, like that hit right there. Who's 45 on Montreal, Rick?
Area.
Yeah. Like that right there, that's a hit to the head. Like, I'm surprised nothing was called on that. And, it's, that's as clear as day.
And got fined the maximum they could fine him, Wilson, today. That's what they did.
And we talked about this on several occasions that Wilson was like one really, really bad hit away from like being suspended indefinitely because he's gotten a 41 game before or 20 game. He's gotten significant discipline. Yeah. So
and he's been dirty as fuck in this series.
Rick, I thought this was a family show.
You're not anymore.
See, we've graduated.
Comes to the Canadian.
We've absolutely graduated. We're now no longer a family show. We are just an absolute irreverent piece of crap. There we go. We did it, guys.
Washington has been there's not even a word for how dirty they've been. And except for one game, the other 3 games, the reffing has been towards Washington. No calls. Habs look at a player the wrong way, they get called.
It's been that way apparently across many series where a lot of ticky tack things are going, and it's disappointing in a way because you don't want series outcomes to be determined by penalties, right? You don't want special teams to be the determining factor in a game, or I'm sorry, in a series deciding game, right? You really don't want that to be the case. You would rather it be a 5-on-5 if anything, but it's crazy. And I know Paul Bissonnette has spoken out against it, and he's just said sometimes you just got to swallow them. Players have said that the refs should start swallowing them. It's getting hard to dictate these games. Now, I don't know if it's the new waves of refs that are coming into the league and the veterans are leaving and they're teaching the way.
You don't really want me to say it again?
No.
I didn't think so.
So it's just a mess.
Oh, but also you take like the series like Montreal and Washington, like if the refs would have to call
great series, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. Despite that series being 3-1 in favor of Washington, I will have to say that's been one of the most entertaining to watch. The first few games, physical, great. That's even as a Bruins fan, I love watching it.
No, but just say if the refs had to call that series to the letter of the law, like by the book, like honestly, I think someone would be on the power play like the whole fucking game.
You might as well just play 4-on-4.
I get that you don't call everything in the playoffs. I get that. But you call the egregious stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you can't look, I understand like in like Montreal's perspective, maybe it looks like the refs are favoring Washington. But look, at the end of the day, look, last game, Montreal still had 4 power plays. At the end of the day, like they got calls. And
at the end of the day,
Montreal, there was the Ovechkin where he clearly did not intend to. It was an interference call on Ovechkin where they just bumped into each other.
Yeah, I didn't like that penalty, to be honest with you.
What game was that? Game 3?
That was the last. No, that was last game.
Game 4.
Ovechkin was just like crossing the ice, and I think he hit Evans.
Yeah, that didn't look like a penalty to me. I didn't like the Ovi call.
I did not like that call at all. And then Ovechkin gets slashed right after. I think it was by Newhooker. I don't remember who. And that wasn't called. So I understand
about time.
But that's what I'm saying is that to Montreal fans it might look like, oh, we're not getting the calls. But then to Washington fans too, it could be like, well, why are we not getting the calls?
It's not to Montreal fans. Here's the goalie. Here's
Okay.
the coach.
But they're going to be saying that because
they're going to
Come
be
on.
biased. Yeah, they're going to be biased towards themselves. Like, it's the same thing. Like, if I get into a bar fight, I'm going to expect Alex to back me up, right? Because I know him. He's
Okay,
my
but
friend.
I
Even
might
if
know
I'm in the
one
wrong.
broken for the big bouncer who breaks me in half, but at least I tried.
You forgot about one thing. The eyes. Use your eyes. You saw what happened on the ice.
The Obi hit, I don't care what you say.
I don't think it's just in the Montreal series.
I will say the Wilson one.
I never said it's just in our series. It's in every series.
Can I say this? I say this? That fucking brawl in Game 3 was awesome.
Awesome.
That was awesome. I wish we had a clip of it. That reminded me of Philly Pittsburgh in 2012.
Awesome.
Eric, do you remember that amazing series?
Yeah.
No, but it reminded me of
that was the one game I missed of the Montreal series.
Awesome.
Fucking Game 3.
It reminded me of the Montreal Ottawa series where there was a line, like a bench clearing fight, and by the end of the game, I think it was when Michel Therrien was still the coach, and I think the Ottawa coach called a timeout with like a minute left, and they were clearly winning the game. Like Ottawa was clearly winning the game, but there was like 7 people from each team in the bench and like many ejections. Like going down the penalty list for that game was nuts because everyone got something. It's just awesome. I mean, hope for their safety, but you love that kind of emotion, that tenacity, across it. But
that bench, when they were fighting on the bench, that is dangerous as fuck.
It is.
Say what you want about Tom Wilson. You hate to play against him. You love to have him on your team.
No, I'd like to stick his hockey stick up his ass sideways.
Tom Wilson is
actually. You hate to play against him.
No, I don't respect a guy like that. I don't respect a guy like that for a second.
Yeah, no, I'm actually with Rick on this. Tom Wilson is a guy I would not want on my team. I don't need a boneheaded guy making a boneheaded play.
You say that now because you've gone against him for so many years. You had one of those, Cam, and Brad Marchand for a very long time.
Okay, you are not about to equate Brad Marchand to Tom
How many
Wilson.
suspensions did Marchand have? It wasn't as many as Wilson, but how many did Marchand have?
Especially early in his career.
Oh, yeah. Early in his career, yeah, sure. He was a bit of a rat.
That's my point.
Yeah.
He cleaned himself up, I will say.
Yeah, he slew-footed people early in his career. I'm not going to deny that, but he never headhunted anybody. I've never seen him get called for a headhunt.
Too short to headhunt.
That's fair. What's he going to do?
You
Get a ladder on the ice? Like absolutely. He was known for getting tied up with people and slew-footing them down 100%. Yeah. I'm not going to deny that. But you are not going to equate that type of rat to a guy like Tom Wilson.
No. I'm not saying they're the same exact player, but it's the principle of the matter that Marchand's another guy. You hate to play against him. You love to have him on your team.
Yeah, you're right. One of the best two-way forwards in the last decade.
Tom Wilson's been a productive player. I even said in our chat that I was dead wrong about that contract. He's been great.
Not to the degree of Brad Marchand.
He's not, but no one's saying he's Brad Marchand. That's not my argument. My argument is he's the type of
What's your argument? What is your argument?
Under people's skin, and he knows how to get people riled up on the opposition, both on the ice and in the fan base. But he's the type of guy that can fight tooth and nail for.
No, he's the type of guy that hurts people.
Yeah, no shit.
That's not the type of guy I want on my team.
I'm not arguing he's dirty, but he's the type of guy that on your team you're rooting for.
Jack Guy gets all kinds of shit for everything. Did he do that to anybody?
Yeah, he's done dirty shit too. Let's be honest.
Jack Guy is another guy I might not want on my team.
He's not done the dirty shit. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. He has not done the dirty shit.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Didn't Jack Guy get suspended this season for a head hit?
Yeah, I didn't agree with that suspension though.
That's not the point.
Suspended, no.
The point is, he's a guy you love to have on your team, but you fucking know that he does shit that crosses the line.
A guy I would like to have on my team from Washington is Dylan Strome because he's having himself a fucking phenomenal series. Like he's doing well.
Started on Dylan Strome.
Oh, don't get him started. Rick, Eric's going to go after it. You and Rick.
Flyers, okay. I was on the Dylan Strome trade when he was with Chicago, and I'm like, trade for this fucking guy. His coach is not playing him. He's a top 3 pick. The kid has talent. Then the coach gets fired, and then all of a sudden, Dylan Strome breaks out again, and he's really good player, starts production, and then fucking Chicago doesn't even qualify the guy. So you could have had this guy for nothing. And a team like the Flyers that are desperately looking for center could not give up like a 5th-round pick to get for his rights? What are you serious? And then he goes to Washington. Like, no, it's dumb.
Yeah, and it's really working out over there for him too. It really is.
He's been a new Backstrom. He's their new Backstrom.
Yeah, it's crazy. And those were big shoes to fill too, with Backstrom leaving that team. And I mean, very tragic, very sad. And obviously the same thing for TJ Oshie as well, with their medical issues. But man, he's filling those shoes for Backstrom very, very well.
He's a phenomenal playmaker. He's probably been one of the 3 best players all year, in all honesty.
And I mean, thank God for their defense too, because Logan Thompson's, there's been so many goals that he's let in. I'm like, dude,
I will say
Stuart Skinner might have even had that one. Like, it's like really bad.
I don't know about that one though.
Yeah, honestly, Stuart Skinner's on a planet of his own of suck.
Sorry, is Ville Uso a better comp for that? I don't even know, because Detroit gave up on Ville Uso and traded for Peter Mrazek, which is epic.
I will say this though about this Montreal-Washington series. The one thing that I will say Washington has over Montreal is, well, actually 2 things: experience, and they're a more physical team. And that's, do they cross the line a little bit? Could you argue that? Yeah.
Well, you're kind of wrong on one thing. You're kind of wrong on one thing, because on the last 2 games, the 2 home games, Montreal out-hit them big time. So I don't know exactly.
Well, here's the thing: Montreal would have needed to have the puck in order for Washington to hit them. So, there's another argument.
Montreal only had 18 shots last game.
I get with your insults, my team.
They're a more physical team. That's the point. And listen, all the Montreal, they're having a great year, even if they lose next game. I like the respect that they get.
Yeah, I love what Montreal is building.
Listen, remember what I said at the beginning of the year? Remember what I said back in December, Rick, that I thought that if Marty St. Louis didn't turn things around, he'd be on the hot seat? I was dead wrong about that. I acknowledge that. He has done a fantastic job with this team.
And I would like to tell you, Rick, I did say in the beginning of the season that Montreal was going to make a play for the playoffs, and look where they are.
Did say that. I can acknowledge it.
So I was on the side of like Montreal's going to make
the other shit you're saying. So look up.
I'm a Bruins fan. I'm going to talk shit about Montreal, but as a fan of the sport, I'm absolutely going to acknowledge that
it's going to be on the
but listen, Montreal. If not for the refereeing, Montreal would be tied in this.
No,
come on, Rick. You can't.
Listen, my opinion.
Go ask any NHL player. No, dude. Go ask any NHL player, anybody who watches games. You can only blame so much on the referees. You still got to kill the penalty. You still got to score on your power play chances. And I know what you're going to say. Would we get them?
We did actually. We have. We have the better power play and the better.
Eric,
series. So
Eric, can you remind me how many power plays Montreal had last game?
4.
Right off.
We had 5 to 1 before.
Yeah, so then you're getting your chances. So my point being is that
then imagine how bad Washington is if we're still getting those power plays and they're still as dirty and getting away with it as they are.
And they have made some missed stuff, but you're getting opportunities. You're not going to hit 8 or 9 power plays a game. I don't care what team.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next series.
Wait, no, I want to. It's a good discussion to have. I was gonna say you can only blame so much on the referees or your loss on the referees. You got to kill the penalties. Any coach will tell you that. You have to play better 5-on-5. If most of the game is played a 5-on-5.
So what you're saying is, hang on, let me see.
You got to score. You just got to do your job, right?
Despite the refs making bad calls.
Oh, well.
So we shouldn't have those penalties or that stuff. We got to just get through it.
Yeah. Play to the whistle.
Don't disagree. Quick. But that doesn't take away from the poor reffing.
Hold on. Eric's got a point.
Power play opportunities, okay? Montreal, 13. Washington, 10.
Yeah.
This is for the playoffs so far.
So then, if the power plays have been in favor of Montreal, minorly, by the way, I would consider that pretty close. I would consider that pretty fair in a series. So where's the argument now? So
Well, look at Game 3. Game 3, we had 5. They had 1. That's most of the difference right there.
Okay, so
okay,
it's almost
sure.
getting
Right
to
there.
the
okay,
final.
fine, sure. So
But
then
look
take
who-
away those 5. And
Were you
let's
guys
say-
watching the games and seeing how dirty Washington is and how few penalties they were getting for how dirty they were? Or you're just counting penalties?
It's a stat, Rick. I mean,
They
sure,
got
you could.
5, but they should have got 10.
Okay, but the
You
shoe's on
can't
the.
call everything though.
But when the shoe is on the other foot, and I don't want to really
Again,
beat this till we're
egregious.
blue in the
We-
face.
We
I
could
don't-
also argue that there's probably been Washington calls that haven't gone their way.
There
It,
have
it
been.
could easily go both ways.
I'll admit
That's-
they
If
do.
you
I
were
thought
getting any
Montreal
power
got
plays at
away with
all,
shit too. Montreal got away with shit too. But if you add it up and the numbers, so who got away with more? Washington is outweighing.
Well,
Montreal
that's
by
up
a
to
lot.
personal opinion, though, Rick. Like that, you can't count on the what ifs. So you have to go with what
It's
happened.
not a personal opinion only.
Like it is because you got to.
Well,
You're
then you
looking
don't
at
read.
it.
You don't read and watch what I watch.
Alex,
I guess I got my Bruins glasses on.
You
What's
do.
the if
like,
saying?
like you guys accuse me of my rose-colored
Where's Rick?
glasses. So yeah,
Where's Rick? I can't see Rick. I can't see him. It's like, what is it? Like the 4 fucking blind mice out on the ice, dude? No, I mean, that's the dumbest. I hate when people just blame the referees and say they lost us the game. Like it's not what happens. You still got to kill the penalty. You still got to score on your chances. You still got to be the better team 5-on-5. If Montreal loses the series, it's not because they were the better team. They were the better team and they just got refereed. It's because they didn't score 5-on-5. They didn't get it done on their scoring
they
opportunities.
got out physical. And Montreal's defense,
they didn't.
okay, we're
outside
gonna
of
agree.
two
We're
players,
gonna
is not
agree to
that good.
disagree.
Their decor is rough.
All right.
We're
We'll
going to
agree to
agree.
disagree. Everybody, let us
decide
down.
for
Let us
right
know down in the comment section. Email us what you guys think about that. Are refs like fully responsible for
Going good.
calling
Good,
this
the bad, the refs.
Yeah. So please absolutely let us know. Start the conversation. Start the argument. Call Alex and I stupid. Call Eric handsome.
Oh, I
Call
did
Rick
that. I
and
did
Seymour.
that.
Oh, Rick
didn't I?
Old.
Like I don't know.
I called
like-
you guys stupid. If I didn't, I meant to.
Just don't insult Eric.
Not you, Eric.
Eric's the guy. Eric's just
Eric.
the guy.
Eric's Canadian. He's good.
Oh.
How about we move on to that Colorado Dallas series?
Yeah, let's go.
Great series. Colorado's gonna go away with it. Landeskog.
No,
it took a-
no.
Oh, Landeskog. No, because Landeskog is back, dude. It took him one
Landeskog
game.
was back in game 3 and they still lost in overtime.
Listen, okay, he's been out of the game for 3 years. It's gonna take him a game to get ramped up. Game 4, he scored what? He had a goal and an assist.
Okay,
with
listen.
2 points.
Yeah, I will say this. Dallas played the worst game any team has played in the entire playoffs in game 4.
I don't care
Colorado
what.
completely dominated that game. There is no argument for me. I guarantee you tonight,
they were the better
as we
team.
record this, you are going to see a major pushback from the Stars.
I never.
They
seen
are
the
not
movie.
going to take that lane down. That's going 7. I hope you guys know that. That series.
Oh,
is
I would
going
love it. I would love to go 7, but I think Colorado walks away with it.
I'm sticking with Dallas, man. I've had them all year.
You
And
had them last year
Heiskanen
too.
Might be back game 6. The talk is that aiming for game 6 for Mikko Heiskanen. He's
That'd
not
be a
going to be
huge-
ready next game.
Huge thing.
But getting a number 1 defenseman back will be a big morale boost for Dallas at the same time as well.
They
I
have a
think
Heiskanen.
that's been the best series right now. And outside of game 4, they've all been close. I think Dallas takes game. I think Dallas throws a good counterpunch game 5.
The biggest
I really-
meme that's going to come out of that series is Dallas is going to be like, we have, they're going to be like, we have a Heiskanen, and then the Avalanche are going to be like, yeah, well, we have a Makar. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's going to be like something like that. It's
Makar, Heiskanen. It's not a giant gap between the two. Heiskanen's a
I don't know about
Heiskanen's a
that.
top 5 defenseman in the league. Come on, man.
Top 10.
Top 5. He's not. Makar's better. But it's not a giant gap. It's like this.
If I'm picking between Makar, I'm taking Makar 10 out of 10 times, dude. I mean,
I'm
that guy,
not
what he does
disagreeing.
is,
I'm just saying it's not as big of a gap as you think.
I think it is. I think it's a
That's
bit
a
bigger
big
than you
piece
think it
Dallas
is.
is missing. They're getting back. I think.
I'm putting Heiskanen at maybe position 7 or 8, and I'm putting Makar at 2 or 1, depending on the year.
Who
Quinn
the
Hughes
teammate
has.
you'd have ahead of him? I'll give you Makar and Hughes. Quinn Hughes.
Makar, Hughes. This is in no particular order after that. I mean, I think Charlie McAvoy is better
I
in terms
don't
of
agree with that. I think he's better.
I think he's a better shutdown defenseman.
He's a better overall defenseman than McAvoy. I'm not giving you him.
Oh, I don't know about
Talk about
that.
having
But
glasses on.
I don't know. I'm gonna argue also the way Lane Hudson's playing. Lane Hudson's up there.
No, 1
I
year.
agree
Stop
with you.
that.
Not yet. Let's wait.
He
I
was the
thought
number
that.
Like,
6 defenseman.
Stop that.
It's hold on. It's very preemptive.
He
But
was
if
the number
he
6
continue-
guy.
but if he can-
year.
Yes, it's also been 1 year. I'm not putting that on him.
But
yet.
like I said, it might be preemptive. But assuming because he was the first defenseman to do what he did since
He had a
God, I can't
sensational
remember.
year. No one is arguing that. I'm
But if-
saying you need to do it consistently.
But if he can continue to do that,
then we
then
can have
I'm-
the argument.
yeah.
If he does it again next year, something of that quality, we can have the argument.
I would
But
still
right
put
now, I'm not playing that card.
I would still put Drew Doughty, Adam Fox.
I think Doughty of now, I'm putting Heiskanen ahead of him.
I would give Noah Dobson. Because Noah
Dobson doesn't
Dobson.
have a good defensive game. He's a great offensive defenseman, but he doesn't have a good defensive game.
Okay, well,
You see what I'm
an
saying
all-around
here?
player.
I
Like
think-
it's an all-around player. I'm saying like Dobson is the only reason why I think the New York Islanders.
The
even
only
have a
other
chance.
guy I'd consider is maybe Victor Hedman.
Werenski.
Werenski.
Oh, Werenski. You're right. I'll give you him. Zach Werenski. I'm sorry.
All right, he's taking it to another
Absolutely
level
on
this
that
year.
one. So 4 or 5. I put maybe on Hedman because I think Hedman's lost a step.
I'd
say he's
I think
4 or
7
5.
or 8 is very fair for Heiskanen.
But
But
Point
he's a good
being-
defenseman.
it's a clear number 1 defenseman you're getting back for Dallas. That will
Oh,
make
even
a
Rasmus.
maximum
By the way,
impact this
Rasmus Dahlin. I think he's better. He's the only shining star. I
That's
think,
a good argument.
in
I
Buffalo.
will listen with Darlene. That's
What about
close.
Pietrangelo?
Alex
I
Pietrangelo is
take
another
Heiskanen
good
over
one.
Pietrangelo personally.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Heiskanen too.
Darlene,
That's
I'll
close,
listen
though.
to. Darlene's a stud.
Mm.
But my God, dude, again, I think 7 or 8 is very fair for Heiskanen. And
I
it's not
think
to
4 or
discredit
6,
him.
I guess.
Ooh, Roman Yossi.
Oh, he's
Anyone
had-
else feel like Yossi kind of took a step back? This
he
year?
took a
Yeah,
step
he's
back.
like 38 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
It's
getting up
just
there.
the
Shame.
Yossi of old.
But the only reason, Alex, why I think Dallas loses that series is because Colorado's the deeper team.
Nope, that's wrong.
Yeah. I think
In
also
terms of, I will say Colorado's a healthier team. I think Dallas's depth is arguably the best in hockey. That team is so damn deep. Like Matthew Duchene has been playing as your number 3 center. Let that sink in.
Yeah, but after he was traded from Colorado, he hasn't really. I mean, he's been somewhat of a journeyman in some regard,
He's
right?
still close to 60 points this year. Ended up.
Yeah. Well, Dallas as a whole is a well put team. It's a
That's
shame.
wagon on paper.
It's a
You have-
shame, dude, that these two teams are meeting in the first round. It's
I agree with that.
Because I would have preferred it to be a second round matchup and have it be a dogfight. Like, you know what I mean? More so than it. Like, it's just such a shame. Then I agree with you, Alex. It should go to the 1 to 8 seeding because of this.
Yeah.
Because you have, I think, lesser teams making the Stanley Cup final or have a chance to go to the Stanley Cup final more easily because of this setup.
Yeah. No, see, that's the thing at this point. Like, this is just another reason why you argue the 1-8. Because then you'd have in the East, the Devils would be playing like Toronto round 1 instead of Ottawa. And the Devils don't belong anywhere near that. I mean, I think Washington and Montreal would still be the same, but I think that would be the same no matter
Yeah.
what. 'cause
It
wild
would.
card.
Eric, Eric and Rick, what do you guys think about the Dallas Colorado series? Like, who do you guys think comes out of that?
Well, for me, when it comes to Dallas, I'm like the big boys have to start showing up because
That I agree with.
like, look, I'm just gonna put this out. I don't know if you guys know. Do you know who's leading Dallas in points right now?
Not Mikko Rantanen.
No, exactly. And okay, it's Thomas Harley.
Yeah.
With
He's been
Another
Insane.
great guy. Awesome guy.
great defenseman, but if he's leading your team with a team that has Rantanen,
Jason Robinson.
Wyatt Johnson, with the Rope Hintz,
Jamie
all these guys,
Benn. Tyler Sagan. I mean,
but with 3 points,
Sagan's
he's
a little
leading the team
past
with
his
3
prime.
points.
Hasn't it been their problem for a while that the offense doesn't show up in the playoffs? Am I wrong?
I don't
Yeah.
know. What
Hey,
happened.
well, Wyatt Johnson last year was big in the playoffs for them, but he's
Yeah,
taking.
but I
he's
mean, in
taking a minor
general.
step back.
In general, their top 6 doesn't all show up every playoff.
Hey, gentlemen, do you remember when everyone shit on me for putting Thomas Harley in our 2019 redraft 4 or 5? I just want to take my victory lap for that one.
I don't think I shed on you for that.
Yes, you did. You were one of the kings of it. I watched the episode.
Yeah, I would think you're the one that did it the most.
I
Yes.
wasn't part of it. So.
I'm happy to admit that I was wrong on that. I didn't think Thomas
That's all
Harley
I
was.
ever asked for. Yes,
Yeah, happy to admit it. If that's the case, absolutely. I was dead wrong on that.
Yeah.
Thomas Harley's awesome.
Honestly, I make this argument. I think Thomas Harley is a future number one defenseman on another team. I think he's that good. He's pushing it if he's not already there.
Pushing, but I think he's at. I think his ceiling is a number 2.
And I agree with that. And I think if he's a little taller or a little bigger, he's not very big. And now this is coming from a guy where our number one is Hudson, but I'm saying Harley though, give him a few more inches. Yeah,
Rick, show me a guy that doesn't want a few more inches.
I know you're gonna go there. I know. I set
Show me a guy that doesn't want a few more inches. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
I know you'd think gay guys it wouldn't be as
okay. Okay.
The smaller the better, I would think.
Oh.
For me.
Alex read my mind on that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, Rick, I'm sorry, Eric, finish your thought on that series. I know we kind of interrupted you here.
Well, that's pretty much what I want to say. Like, their big boys have to start showing up because 1 point here, 2 points there. Like, you're playing the Avalanche here. You're not, you're not playing a shitty
can't sleep
team.
on them.
Look, at the end of the day, I think Avalanche end up taking the series.
Suck it,
I just
Alex.
think with no Heiskanen, no Robertson, and the team's offense being in the gutter.
That's right. I forgot Robertson was out.
I don't know. I just don't.
It's
see it,
crazy. Thomas Harley's the only guy on that team that has 3 points. Everyone else has 2 or less.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And also another point: if a defenseman's leading your offense in the playoffs, you're probably in trouble.
Hudson has the most points in Montreal, no?
I don't think so.
I was gonna say. I think
so.
he's.
Wait,
it's that, or I think.
I wish I could play the
sure I
Curb Your
saw that.
Enthusiasm.
That's hilarious.
And if that's the case, then I'm still accurate because Montreal's in trouble right now. So.
Yeah, he's right. He's not wrong. Rick
Yeah,
has
he
a good
is.
point.
He's
Rick
5
has a good
points.
point.
So you're saying it isn't just the refs; it's also Montreal is struggling.
It's Montreal.
What I'm
just
saying
sucks.
is Montreal's in trouble right now. A lot to do with the refs.
All right, I just wanted to play that.
But
part.
mainly the refs. Oh, my bad. Rick, what about your thoughts on that?
No,
series?
probably mainly because of inexperience, more than anything.
I agree with that. There's a lot of inexperience, but also a lot of heart there. Rick, what are your thoughts on the Colorado Dallas series?
I took Colorado in my bracket. I think they're going to win.
I took Colorado.
I've taken Dallas before they disappoint. It's like 2 years in a row, so I'm taking Colorado.
Watch, I think that Rick has like a jinx. Like if Dallas comes out of that, whatever Rick picks, I'm picking the opposite.
Whatever I say,
and I'm putting money on it.
Take the other one.
Whatever Rick's bad pick.
You're probably going to do better doing that.
No, that series could go either way. I just think Colorado is the team that comes out of that. VGK Minnesota, fellas, good. I thought VGK initially was gonna.
Yeah, me too. In 5,
really run away with that in 5 games. But Bold. Oh, please, Alex. It's being largely carried by Boldy and Kaprizov. Like let's not jerk each other off here.
Did Vegas not win the first 2 games at home?
They did.
No, they did. They split.
So
it's 2-2 right now.
Split.
With the series, the 4 in the West tied at 2 games apiece. This could be that kind of a thing where it's the home team and they're going to go long, and it's that 7th game that's going to decide it.
Both teams split at their opposing homes.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'll say Minnesota
that happened.
Going up 3-1.
I'm just saying, you just never know how you can't look at it and go, because the 2 games went like that, it's going to be like this. You just never know. It's playoff hockey.
Good series. I'm glad it's shaping up to the way it's going to be. Gustafson's been really good. I'm wondering if they're going to put in Fleury at some point, just to maybe in round 2, if they're up in the series, just give Fleury a look. It's his last year.
True.
I wonder if that's going to happen. I mean, you ride the hot goaltender, but maybe give him a game if Gustafsson needs a bit of a break and they have a good stronghold in a series. You know what I mean? Like, I could see that. Like, if they play
the only way I see Fleury entering a game is if they're getting blown out.
Yeah, Gustafsson has 2 bad games.
Yeah,
Well, that's
it
what
would
no,
have to be something like that.
I'm thinking like no, if they're up 3-0 in a series, they'll probably give Fleury a game, give Gustafson a smidgen of a rest, and then bring him back for game 5. Like you know what I mean?
Maybe,
I
but-
see those. I see either of those scenarios.
Yeah,
but
but wait a second.
if
Think
it's a
about it
tight
this way,
series, you
though.
keep Gustafson.
But wait, you're up 3-0. Yeah, okay, put the other guy in, and you lose that game. That could turn the whole series.
You're right. It could. You're absolutely
Well,
Did
right.
we
I don't
make
know.
that argument though, where Stolarz and Wolf?
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could. But here's the thing, though. Fleury is also no schmuck. You know what I mean? He's a 2-time Stanley Cup. I think he's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. If I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
I mean,
like,
his age-
it's not like he's bad, and he had a decent year too, and it's his last year. He's definitely gonna want a 4th cup, and so like you gotta. He's a future Hall of Famer. You put respect on his name. So even if they do lose that one game that they put him in, if they decide to give Gustafson a game's rest because he's played a lot, especially if this series goes 7, I don't think that's really much of a loss. Especially if they go right from 7 into another series and then they're up 2-3 games.
But in hockey, where a lot of people are superstitious.
Oh,
you go with the hot goalie. You ride the hot hand until, like, I still think if Gustafson has 2 bad games, if he has 2 bad games, like one bad game is forgivable, but 2 and
2
then
in a row, you
do that.
No, I can agree with that as well. I wonder if they do give him a look.
I don't think you can see that. I mean, they're in a 2-2 series right now, so let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Wait, who's the coach there? Hines, right? Hines. He sometimes who did he coach before?
The Devils,
New Jersey.
He did not do a good job there. So you never know. This guy could make a bad decision like that. Maybe you never know. But for me, if I was that guy, I think I'd ride the hot goalie until he gives you a reason not to.
John Hines, he coached the Nashville Predators, New Jersey Devils, and
he was bad with the Devils. I think it was the Devils, or I don't remember if it was both, but he was bad with one of those.
Yeah, the Devils. In his defense, the Devils had a really shit team when he was there.
Yeah, he also coached the AHL team for the Penguins, and then he also coached Team USA Hockey in 2002 to 2003, and he also coached in college. By the way, John Hines looks like an evil motherfucker. He looks like Dr. Evil. He looks like an evil bastard.
Lex Luthor.
He does. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, hold on. Can I even pull this up? Like an image of him? Like he looks fucking mean. Like, you know what, Rick? I changed my mind. You're right. I think he looks more like Lex Luthor. Hold on, I'm trying to get
because he's bald, isn't he? He's bald.
Mr. Clean.
He's bald. Yeah, okay, but somebody bald. That's who he looks like because he's bald.
Dude,
like
here,
me.
Take
all the coaches are bald. Actually,
look, fuck.
Look, okay, hang on. I'll put it up there.
I lost it. Like,
oh.
He's a mean looking, ugly ass motherfucker.
Mr.
Look at him. Yeah, he looks fucking mean, dude. Like,
that's not Lex Luthor.
Mr. Clean.
That looks like Mr. Clean's dumber brother.
Jesus Christ.
Mr. Not as clean.
He's done a good job.
I'm not saying he's
been solid in Minnesota.
I didn't say he's dumb. Really well. You were going by a picture. I'm just saying what he looks like. He looks like he could be dumb. From looks.
In all seriousness, he's been much better in Minnesota than New Jersey. Like that team in New Jersey looked so discombobulated when he was there. When he ended up getting the job in Minnesota, he completely turned his regime around. He has led that team to play well.
Yeah,
they play hard for him almost every night. There's a reason why I picked Minnesota. You know, the return of Eriksson Ek needs to be stated more, too. He hasn't done much offensively, but he plays an excellent two-way game. He's been dominant in the face-off circle.
Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov, that's who's getting credit for this turnaround. Eriksson Ek is one of the big names.
Hartman's been a great playmaker, too, for them, too. He's been dropping dimes left and right.
So. And by the way, Eriksson Ek, Montreal's looking for a second-line center, and I don't think they can get him. That's one of the guys I would like to get.
You're not going to get Eriksson.
No, I know you are not. But, I mean, that's a guy I like. I've had him in fantasy before. He's a good player.
I had Vegas.
He produces, and he's a two-way guy. Like, this is a good player.
I agree with you. I had Vegas winning this series. Now I don't know. I like the underdog in this because let's be real, Minnesota is the underdog here. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at a team like Vegas, the way they're built, the coach that they have.
Oh
and
yeah,
Bruce
and I don't like
Cassidy.
Vegas, so I'd love Minnesota to do it, but I picked them in 5. And also, Nordy's a big Vegas guy, so let's have Minnesota win.
I don't hate Vegas. I hate
don't
how
like Vegas.
they basically Chris Drury their entire like core. Like they're all in to win all the time. So it's like
Well, they're competitive, yeah.
yeah, there's no loyalty to their players if you think
No.
about it. Like they
Well, but I mean, like today's game, it's hard to have that loyalty to. You can have it to a few players, but you can't have it to.
normally it's your top 6 and your top 2 defensemen that you will typically do that. Alex wrote a sign for those of you who don't watch us on YouTube, and it says Wild and 7 because he doesn't just want to use his mic, he wants to color.
Wild and 7.
It's now, was it Arts and Crafts with Alex? It's our AA
I
meeting.
wish I could have wrote it vice versa though, where it was flip flop, so you could see it written out clearly.
Alex
Alex is our
hour.
Bob. What's his name? Bob. What's the
Bob
guy's
Ross.
Name? Yeah,
Bob Ross. We're gonna
He's
paint
our
a
Bob
head.
Ross.
We need a
Bob
bush.
Ross.
Rick, you might remember this. It's an old SNL skit. Remember the one with Mike Myers when he was in the bathtub?
Yeah.
And Simon, he does, "Hello, my name is Simon. I
Cheeky.
like to do drawings."
Drawings. Yeah. I remember.
Ugh, Mike Myers in a bathtub, disgusting, or whatever.
That was
hot
fucking
tub,
great.
whatever you want to call it. What about the
Let's
rest of you
talk about
guys?
Vegas a little bit since we're on the subject. I haven't been that impressed with them. Like, I don't think they got that pizzazz that they've had prior years. They've looked a little shaky on the defensive end, I feel like, too.
Good.
Well,
I hate them.
Alex, let me ask you this. Is it because of what they've accomplished since their inception? That's because they don't look that good? Because if you look at what they've accomplished since, 2018, they made the Cup final against Washington. So
They
and
won
they've
it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
They won it, right.
Yeah, they won it 2 years ago. So I mean, in the 7 years that they've been in the league, they've remained very competitive. So I mean, do you is it no, that's my question. I'm like, is it because they've been competitive and they've had this rapport that they've built and they're just anticipated to be really good? And are you just shocked to see after just 7 brief years in the NHL that maybe they're tapering off and plateauing and starting to become just one of those regular teams?
I don't think it's quite that, because listen, they won their division, so it's not like they were a team that has just progressively been declining. But I just don't think this has been a good matchup for them because, like I said, the Wild were missing 2 of their best players before this series began. They got them back at the right time. They're clicking on all cylinders. Gustafson's been solid in net, and they've been taking it to him on the forecheck. They've dominated the puck battles, I've noticed, is what the Wild have really done. And they played a good defensive game when Vegas does attack the side. It's really just more that I give more credit to the Wild that it makes Vegas look bad. I know I just said that Vegas doesn't look good, but I want to give more credit to what the Wild have done to make them not look good.
I mean, real quick before Eric and Rick go on that, I just want to say, it is the natural order of things where teams that weren't as good will eventually find their way. I mean, Vegas is full of predominantly, I would say, veterans. I mean, now Minnesota's adding into the fold and they're starting to find their game. So, I mean, it makes sense to me that Minnesota is giving Vegas a hard time because they're younger, I think, in terms of, I don't know, average age, but it's showing, you know what I mean? That happens. Look at teams like Boston that they eventually fell out because, they had their decade of fun, in the NHL. You see it. Carolina's probably going to be that team soon with the way they could be potentially aging. You don't know. It could be anything like that. So I don't know. Rick and Eric, in no particular order, who you guys can fight for it and go.
I don't even remember what the original subject was. So
Vegas, Minnesota.
I just go Winnipeg. Vegas and Minnesota.
No, look, Minnesota. I'll be 100% honest. I've never been a Minnesota believer. I shit on that team all the time.
He's not a believer.
And no, but look, they're proving me wrong, man. And they were at the beginning of the season when they were 100% healthy. They were a top team in the league. They were really hitting on all cylinders. And then when Minnesota really started falling off was when all the injuries started accumulating and piling up.
Yeah.
So now
As
that
natural.
exactly. And now that they're, so they're into the playoffs and they're 100% healthy again, more or less. And look, they're giving Vegas a run for their money. And just quick, another question, guys. How many points do you think Jack Eichel has this series?
I don't think he has any.
3.
I guess
one.
One. Wow.
He hasn't done much. I know that.
Look, I know this stat. A lot of people are like, oh, whatever, plus minus. Blah. But like at the end of the day, like he's a -7 in this series.
Yeah, it's not good.
He was a +32 during the season, but he's a -7. And
Yeah,
Eichel's like gets Selke votes, and this guy's just getting owned right now. And
Yeah, he may be playing through an injury at this point in the season.
could honestly, it could be.
yeah.
Because
If he's not at 100%, that's a problem for Vegas, right? You need
Exactly.
he is a big driver for that. He's a
How
former
many
second
guys
overall
are-
pick.
How many guys really right now are at 100%?
Well, obviously not
Oh,
many, but
not
like
many.
probably.
different.
So
Some guys are playing at 90, some guys are playing at 70.
yeah, so Eichel's probably playing through an injury that's affecting obviously all aspects of his game.
He's just got to find his game. If he is healthy and he's playing like that, he's got to find his game if he wants his team to advance, because that's not cutting it, man.
Who do you think comes out of that series?
I picked Vegas, so I'm gonna stick with my pick.
Rick, anything to add?
No, not really. I mean, if Minnesota is that team from the early in the season, then Vegas could be in a lot of trouble. I mean, so I think I might be. I had Vegas in 5. I saw some of the game the other day. I don't know if it was yesterday. Yeah, I don't know if I like that pick of Vegas in 5. We got more
Arts and crafts with Alex. Alex still says Wild.
More creative.
Wild and 7.
Bob Ross over there being creative. Yeah, I kind of go for. I don't know who's going to come out in 7, but I kind of think this is going to go to 7.
I'm in agreement. I hope this goes 7. This has been another good series or another series that's turned into a good one. So a good surprise.
Most of them have.
Carolina, New Jersey next, and then we'll wrap it up with the Kings and Oilers.
Do we really have to talk about Carolina, New Jersey?
Yeah, I don't.
Carolina in 5. I said 4. I guess New Jersey got a pity game. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to New Jersey for making the playoffs with the amount of injuries but I just can't see them passing there without Jack.
It's unfortunate because New Jersey is so badly injured. Both the Hughes brothers are gone. Brendan Dillon's hurt. There's another guy that I'm blanking on that also got hurt too.
Dougie Hamilton, Siegenthaler.
Nope.
It's
Siegenthaler. Hamilton's back, but Siegenthaler.
Oh, Hamilton is back. Okay, I thought Hamilton was still out. So they're hurt on the back end.
That's just been riddled with injuries that pretty much gave Carolina a hand-delivered easy
second
series.
round.
Yeah.
It
Good
doesn't
for
need
the
to be
Devils
discussed.
for getting a game. I picked Carolina to sweep them because of that, of how badly hurt they were. It's obviously not officially over. It's 3-1.
Game 4, the Devils put up one hell of a fight. Kochekov was just
They're playing hard.
phenomenal.
I'll give them that. That's
their
something to watch,
defense-
by the way. Freddie Anderson's hurt.
Yeah, their defense has hurt them. Yeah, but Kochekov is going to be the next guy.
No, I'm saying Freddie Anderson got injured.
I know, but I'm just saying Kochekov is going to be the next guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's going to be a stud in this.
Yeah,
league,
I think Freddie Anderson's walking after this year too.
Yeah. And I don't think we need to dive deep into the Carolina New Jersey series. Sorry for those of you who are Carolina fans and New Jersey fans here. I mean, credit to Carolina, they're going to make it to the second round. I don't see New Jersey beating them, and if they do, shame on Carolina. And honestly, you got to fire Brendan Moore
before the press conference.
Yeah, you got to fire Brendan Moore if they lose that series. Like that, there's no question about it. So you can't. Yeah, you can't lose to New Jersey right now.
One quick tidbit on Carolina. Svechnikov is starting to find his game again. He is starting to find. I think he had a hattie last game, didn't he?
I'm not entirely sure.
I'm honestly sure Svechnikov had a hattie last game.
Both the Carolina New Jersey series and the LA and Edmonton series have been about as much fun as watching paint dry.
Oh, I disagree on Edmonton and the LA series. That series has been great.
Outside of game 1, I mean, let's pivot over to that again. Sorry, Carolina and New Jersey fans. It's just that series is one. I mean, Washington and Montreal. I think that series is one, but it's the LA, at least in the West, it's the most entertaining, I think, right now to be watching. LA, Edmonton, outside of, I think, game 1, where Edmonton was sparking that huge comeback and almost completed it. And then, they shot themselves in the foot. I just haven't cared too much about that series.
I've got to say, LA could have swept this series. They had the lead in the third period, all 4 games. They choked it 3 of them. They would win 1. LA needs to learn how to fucking finish. There's an insane statistic. Do you know who led the LA Kings defense core in ice time last game?
I think it was Gavrikov.
Joel Edmondson.
Oh, Edmonton.
That's gross.
I don't even remember.
And I'm going to
Edmonton
go a step
going
further
there.
with this. And this is more of a shot as the horrific coaching. They had 4 guys go over 31 minutes. Gavrikov, Anderson, Downey, and Edmondson. Clark had 11 minutes, and Moraver had 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to
They
run
pretty much played 4 defensemen for the large majority of the game. That is malpractice coaching.
They're going to run their defense into the ground, and that's what's going to end up costing them the
You can't do
series.
that. You have to run all 3 decoy pairings.
Yeah.
If they lose this series, that's another coach that deserves to be fired. Because on paper, there is no excuse for LA to lose this series.
I agree.
They are a better team than Edmonton, top to bottom. Outside of the top end talent, which obviously McDavid and Draisaitl are two of the 3 best players in the league, probably. Outside of that, everywhere else, the Kings have them beat.
Listen,
there is no reason the Kings should lose this series. The fact that it's 2-2 right now, I can give the Kings an excuse game 3. Because you know what? Edmonton was only down 1. They tied the game. Another thing to give crap about, that was an awful goaltender interference challenge. What are you doing on that? Okay, then 10 seconds later, Edmonton goes down and scores on the power play, 4-3, and they end up winning the game 7-4. That completely flipped the momentum. Because you had a tie game. There was no reason to challenge that. It was clear as day that wasn't going interference.
All right, and I want to bring out people like Edmonton fans are blaming Stuart Skinner. I'm like, to be honest with you, he's letting some bad goals, but at the same time, a lot, if you look at it, their Edmonton's defense has also left them out to dry.
They haven't been great either, but Stuart Skinner's been the worst goal in the NHL in the playoffs.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but you also have to look at that team's defense. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. Edmonton, I think, top to bottom, has not been that great.
They need to get Bouchard and Nurse off the same pairing. That's terrible.
Yep. Spread that out. Spread it out.
Man, if Bouchard doesn't score those 2 goals in the third, after he misplayed
it's
that
3-1 right now. If they don't get that goal in the last 30 seconds.
Yep.
Wow.
It should have been 4-0 if friggin' the Kings had a half-competent coach.
That series has been nothing but both those teams shooting themselves in the foot. Everything. It's been... Rick brought up the point about the refs are calling the series. I think that's the only series where the refs are not fucking the teams over, where the teams themselves are fucking themselves in their ass. It's like they're right when they get off the ice, they're sitting on their thumbs. That's what they're doing. They can't need. I don't see either the Kings or Edmonton after this series. They're done in round 2 with the way they've been playing. If they can't clean it up, and I'm talking about both of them, if they can't clean it up and learn how to close out games or how to just start games on time, and you can decide which one is which, because honestly, it's a fucking coin toss on the night that you watch it. That's why I don't find it entertaining. I find it like garbage hockey. It's like tuning into a peewee game, and the coaches on the bench are just like, guys, you want to pass the puck to the guy who's open. That's I don't know.
Edmonton's incompetence came in the offseason. That's where their issues have come, because they did nothing to address their goaltending issues. They let 4 of their depth guys go, and they let McDavid and Draisaitl out to dry.
Yeah, who did they let go, Alex? Holmberg and who? Holloway?
Holmberg, Holloway, Fogle, and McLeod.
God.
They let them all go, and they've all been productive elsewhere.
Well, I think McLeod was traded to Buffalo. I think that was a trade.
For Matthew Savoy.
Fogel walked, I believe, and then they didn't.
Right now, and he's playing good.
And they didn't qualify RFA offers to Holmberg and Holloway, which St. Louis is loving those players right now.
Holloway's
Broberg.
hurt right now. But overall,
Broberg.
he's a great
Sorry,
year.
sorry. Did I say Holmberg? Did I say
Yeah, I'm wondering
Holmberg?
who you're
I'm sorry.
talking
Oh,
about.
Broberg.
Sorry, I'm
Broberg.
sorry. Broberg. Holmberg is
I
on
didn't catch
Florida,
that.
I
Good
believe.
catch,
I'm
Rick.
sorry. Good catch, Rick. Sorry. Yeah. Broberg. Too many Bergs, too many Bergerons, too many Evans, too many Hughes. Just everyone get a different name. I'm going to start calling you by numbers.
Yeah.
You're player number 1. It's going to be like fucking Squid Game out here. I'm going to be like, yeah, player 456 or like whatever. Like we'll just have like a sheet of like what Cam's coding is. It's nuts. No, that's my biggest issue with Edmonton. I don't even know who's going to come out of this series. I think Edmonton because fuck it, why not? Just why not Edmonton?
I
No, but
still
like-
think the Kings do because
Yeah.
they're still the better team. But if their coaching keeps this up, that's another guy that needs to get fired at the end of the series because this is your time. You're better than Edmonton now. You have no excuse to lose the series. None.
Because again, it's fucking Draisaitl and McDavid that is carrying this team. Their depth, and Corey Perry, because Corey Perry's just been Johnny Clutch.
If Corey Perry is your best winger, that's an issue.
Exactly.
Corey
Their
Perry's
depth is
old,
doing
but
nothing.
Corey Perry's old, but he's smart. And yes, he's better at the depth position now. He's definitely not a top 6 winger anymore, or what he used to be when he played for Anaheim or any of the other 40 fucking teams that he played for in his journey to Edmonton. But yeah, I mean, you would expect like a guy like Vander Kane or like Jeff Skinner to kind of start picking it up on a team where you have the guys like Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, McDavid, and but they're not. They're not doing
I
what
took
they're.
a step back this year. You knew he wasn't
Absolutely.
getting 54 goals again.
Well, you want to know why? Because the defenders started to defend the side of the net, which is where he is and where he scored. I think it was
The
like
dude's took a
80% of his
step
goals.
back. He's getting old,
yeah.
and they're doing nothing to friggin' to fix this. Get a goalie, Edmonton, please. After this year ends and you inevitably get kicked out of the playoffs, whether
They
it's
did.
this round or next round, get a fucking
did.
goalie.
They took Jack Campbell for $5 million.
Yeah.
Oh, but don't never feel like
And
that
then
Calvin
buried him.
Pickard backing him up.
Yeah,
Yeah. One of the elite goalies in the Flyers Revolution of 2019.
That
Fuck off,
goalie,
man.
that goalie acquisition was about as good as the Viliuso Peter Mrazek debacle. Like that was great.
You know what
That
the worst part is?
organization
That
just
Mrazek
pisses
would probably
me
be the
off.
best goalie on that team.
What was that,
Mrazek
Eric?
would be the best goalie on that team right now.
Yeah, he would.
Like,
Mrazek would have
True.
at least made one more save than Stuart Skinner would. Now, but albeit I think Stuart Skinner's still relatively young, 24, 25, right? He's not that old.
he's young.
So,
He's not old.
so maybe he'll hit a stride at some point when Edmonton. But you want to know what? When Edmonton actually gets defense that gives a fucking flying shit and can get out of that Darnell Nurse contract.
Just malpractice.
Bums.
Absolute malpractice. McDavid and Draisaitl deserve better than this because you have 2 of the 3 best players in the world and you're surrounding them with either guys who are declining or shit. It's malpractice.
Well,
it's
you want to know why, Alex? I'm going to give you a hint to everyone here because it's the shit guys are the only fucking people they can afford because of what they're paying those 2. And then also add Darnell Nurse onto that. They're going to what? Did Bouchard sign his extension or anything like that? Because you got to look at what he's going to want to make.
Bouchard's going to get paid. They have no choice.
That's
So,
going to be another mistake.
Now
I'm
your
sorry, I think
team's
that's gonna be another mistake.
No, I don't think so. I think Bouchard can be a good defenseman in the making, but
I
not
don't
with
know.
his
He's
partner.
gonna step back this year.
If
He
you're gonna
wasn't
pay
as
him
good this
11
year as he was
plus,
last
no.
year.
Oh, he's not going to get 11 plus. I'm thinking like
There's
8
people
and maybe.
saying he might get 11.
Oh my God! Then yes, then absolutely, that's a garbage contract for Bouchard. But if you give him like $8 to $9 million, like the McAvoy money, or like a decent contract,
He's at least acceptable.
But like
I would give him 9, but nothing more than 9. Like you know what I mean? It's
yeah, but if you're Bouchard's camp, right? You have a guy on that team that's making what 9.5, and you're like, wait, you're gonna pay me less than him?
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
good.
so you have
Just
to, yeah,
fuck
you're right. So
himself.
you kind of have to fluctuate that and look at it and be like, fuck, dude. So, but no, I don't even know if McDavid stays there at the end of his contract because now what? I think they're signed Draisaitl, right? To 14
he's
million,
done.
is it?
Draisaitl's signed.
So what are you going to do now? It's crazy. You can't have your first line center and second line center both making 12 and 14 million dollars respectively. Like you can't. That's nuts.
Well, I think you could, but as long as
But what are you going to surround them with?
No, but that's exactly like Alex was saying before with their offseason, is like they prioritized signing Arvidsson and Skinner for basically the money they could have given to Broberg and
anybody else.
Holloway two guys that are a lot younger and way better. And then you trade McLeod basically because you have Adam Henrique in the 3 spot.
Thank God. Thank God we have fucking Adam Henrique.
So you have this old, slow third line center. So let's get rid of the young.
Isn't Adam Henrique 112?
So but
He's
those
working his way
decisions
there.
like you had a team that just made the finals, which if things would have broke just slightly your way, you would have won the cup last year. But now let's not qualify Holloway. Let's dick around with Holloway and Broberg, not sign them. Let's prioritize Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, and now these guys walk away from your team. Let's trade probably the best third line center that was in the league at that point.
I'll even do you one better, Eric. Last year in the final, a game 7 where you could have argued that Edmonton should have won. Had Bobrovsky not been completely lights out. Bobrovsky.
Okay. Yeah, you're the botching man today. That's you.
Really?
Russian machine don't break. Like it's you. If Bobrovsky hadn't stood on his head, because that's what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched the same game 7 I did last year, but I had Edmonton pulling that comeback. Like Bobrovsky won them that game, and there was it would have been no question. McDavid also earned that Conn Smythe. Anyone saying otherwise is fucking stupid.
No, I agree.
But you're not going to have that again this year. That was a miracle last year. They almost pulled it off. They should have pulled it off. And then you go fuck off with, the other guys and just say good luck. And then you sign Jeff Skinner, who's amounted to nothing in Buffalo. He had one good year in Carolina. And then you go and get, like you said, Victor Arvidsson. Cool, a bigger guy, whatever you want to have. Use some physicality in there. And then, but you don't keep some of the younger talented individuals in the form of Broberg and, like you said, Eric Holloway. And then look at St. Louis, who is now utilizing them to the best of their potential. And guess what they signed them for? Fucking dirt.
Exactly.
That's
and
incompetence.
the worst part was you could have probably had Edmonton could have probably signed both those guys to half of what they signed on those offer sheets, and you would have
maybe all they had to do was match it. All they had to do was match the offer sheet.
But
and Edmonton was just like
because they put themselves in cap trouble by signing fucking Skinner and Arvidsson before you even offer a contract to one of those young guys.
Awesome deal.
That's terrible. Like you can't do that.
Listen, I have enough money to buy a Rolls Royce, but I want the 1960 fucking Toyota or what is it, Ford Taurus. But I don't want the Rolls Royce that has 3 wheels. Fuck it. I'll just buy the horse and buggy. Like, you know what I mean? I'll ride to work in that shit. The only problem is they don't have carrots or hay for me to feed my horse because that's the fucking fuel.
And did you
see incompetence.
David? Did you see McDavid after that third goal? After the
he was pissed. That was the look of I want to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, shit, man.
You're gonna have to do
that. Man's never gonna need to work another day in his life. So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm McDavid, if I really want a cup and if he cares more about winning, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to another team. Is just like, I'll take 8. I already made like 8 years, $12 million. I'm never going to.
He'll still want a big contract.
Rick, I understand, Alex, the point, but you have to also think about it my way.
Get the max, is what you're saying.
He'll be willing to take somewhat of a discount. I'm not saying he's going to make He's going to take $4 million. He's definitely going to get paid very well. But I'm saying he's he'll look at it and be like, all right, where is my best opportunity to win? Oh, you only have $10 million to offer me? Fine.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this offseason, he goes to the GM, in those if they lose to LA in the exit meetings, I wouldn't be surprised. He goes, listen, he goes to the GM, you clean this shit up, or I'm bolting in after next season, because I'm sure he sees this too, and he's like, what the fuck? We had a close to a championship team, and you gutted all the young talent off this team to bring in a bunch of washed up veterans. I don't know.
They have $9 million to spend in cap next season.
And how many players do they have under contract for forwards and decor?
They will need to re-sign Skinner if they really want to, which I don't want to. Corey Perry, which I think Corey Perry is going to retire. Connor Brown, Kasperi Kapanen. No big names, realistically speaking, outside of Evan Bouchard. Outside of Evan Bouchard. There's
they're
no real
fucked.
big names that need to have money. They also have the buried penalty in Jack Campbell that they're paying $2.3 million to next year. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you might as well call him up and play him. I don't even know what you're gonna do. Like, you know, it's
No, he got
crazy.
bought out, no?
Didn't they buy him out?
Yeah, that was Jack
Sorry,
Campbell's a
I'm sorry.
buyout.
I'm sorry. It was a buyout, not a buried penalty. I got those
Right.
two categories confused. But yeah, you have one RFA and you have 6 UFAs. Again, one of them's John Klingberg.
With
Yeah,
$9 million,
whatever.
you're not signing everybody.
Do you
There's no
keep
way.
Quinn Hudson up? I mean, that's what they'll probably do. I mean, they only
And Darnell
need
Nurse.
one forward.
And Darnell Nurse is making $9.25 million, and Bouchard's 25. He already made $3.9 million. He's gonna get the 9. He's gonna eat that
They're
$9
pretty
million
much stuck
up.
with this roster next year. If
Yeah.
you look at it, all the money that they're going to have is going to go to Bouchard. Then everyone else is under contract. You're pretty
Buddy,
much
they
they're
should
going to pretty much
salary.
run the same roster.
Buddy,
next year.
they have 5 forwards that they need to sign. There's the problem right
They
there.
don't have to sign any of those RFAs. They have 16 forwards under contract. They only need to really sign one.
No, they have 16 forwards currently under
Yeah,
contract.
I know. So
16
if
players.
5 are
They're
turning into
losing.
RFAs, I think you do 11. You only
5
need
are
to sign
turning into UFAs. That makes it 11.
at
You are
UFAs.
below.
That's what I meant. UFAs. But you only would need to sign one guy. And you could just bring someone up from the minors.
But so here's the thing. If they give Bouchard $9 million, which they're probably going to do,
They're fucked.
that leaves them with $412,000 in cap space. What do you do?
They'll probably put that guy Cam Dineen. They'll probably send him down to free up almost $800K, and then they'll probably sign someone on the cheap. That's it.
Draisaitl, here's who they have, and here's their options currently. McDavid, no movement. Draisaitl, no movement. Hyman, no movement.
Oh my
Evander
God.
Kane, modified NTC. Nuge, no movement. Victor Arvidsson, no movement. Adam Henrique,
They
no
gave
movement.
Victor Arvidsson and no movement.
They
I
have
hate this team. I hate their fucking organization because they're doing
have
McDavid and Draisaitl dirty.
eight of their forwards under contract next year have some form of trade protection. Six of them
They have to run the same team. They pretty much have to run the same team.
6 of them have no movement clauses. They're fucked.
They have to run the same team. They don't have a choice. Oh, thanks for your first round pick, by the way, Edmonton.
They're going to have to get rid of David Tomasic or something. They're going to have to do something to free up some cap space to bring up younger talent.
Yeah, they're gonna have to shed
I don't know what to
a
do.
contract next year.
That's an old team, too. That is a very old team.
I guarantee you they likely try to convince Adam Henrique to waive his clause to give them the extra $3 million so they can get some space. That's what I
That's
likely
probably
see.
your best option.
Or they
think
trade
Evander
Matthias
Kane.
Jan, or they trade Matthias Jan Mark.
Maybe they move Evander Kane.
I think
I
Kane's the
mean,
one
his
that's
is
gonna get
modified at least.
It's
Yeah.
probably gonna be Matthias Jan Mark because he's making
because-
1.45 million. He'll go. That'll give him enough players to bring 2 people up from the minors.
I think the best bet is moving Evander Kane.
Or do they maybe trade Evan
He only has
Bouchard?
1 year left, too. Sorry, go ahead.
Evander Kane. Oh yeah, they could do that too. Yeah,
They could trade Evan Bouchard.
That may be what they have
that
to
would
do.
be the biggest mistake they ever make.
Right. They should trade Nurse maybe, but not.
They
Bouchard.
can't.
No one's taking
NMC.
a Nerf contract, and he's got no
Oh, right.
movement.
They can't. Yeah,
He's got
they
no
can't.
movement.
They're stuck with that albatross of a contract.
They're stuck with this roster. This is it. This is their team. They're not going to be
Yeah.
any different next year.
They can't improve. They can only get worse, in my opinion.
That's crazy.
That is my point.
Even
Compare
better.
that- You gotta rebuild.
I'm going to even give you guys something better. They don't have a first or a second round pick this year, or a fourth or a fifth. They don't have a first next year.
You got to rebuild.
How are you going to do that with
Yeah.
McDavid and Draisaitl
They,
on your
they
team?
might be more fucked than the Penguins are. I didn't realize it was this bad.
Oh, and next year, not to mention, is McDavid's UFA year.
Yeah.
Now you got to convince him to stay. Good
That's
luck.
what I'm saying. Like,
Good
he
luck.
might walk. He might walk.
Good luck.
that's what I'm saying is
No, you
that
gotta
last
trade him.
off season.
You can't let him
No,
walk.
they're not going to. They'll
They-
probably go tooth and nail and
can't-
pray that they can
They
sign
can't
him.
trade him. He has an NMC. Unless
Yeah.
he
He'll
wants
go
to be
somewhere
traded.
else. If he's gonna walk, he'll say, "Yeah, I'll go there."
No,
You
because
gotta
it's-
trade him.
You think that a team? You think that a player who feels like the organization has not done enough to help him out is really willing to be like, oh yeah, you can trade me.
Yeah,
When he'll be
He'll
when
go
he'll
to
be
it. He'll
when
go
he'll be
to a team-
29.
He'll go to a contender, maybe win a cup there, and he doesn't have to stay. He won't
You know
be.
what?
No,
he'll
but
be
here's
okay.
the
The
issue.
only way I see that happening is if a team like the Flyers comes in and is just like, we're going to give you all these first round picks. You retain 50% of it for 1 year, and then we'll go from there. That the team that would need to do that would need to have massive draft capital. And that I think the Flyers are the only team I think right now that can afford that. But is that a team
Not
McDavid
happening.
wants
I'm
to
not
go
getting my
to?
hopes
Because
up.
the Flyers are also not on the brink of cup contention.
No,
Habs can afford him for a second line center.
the
if
second
you-
line.
If you play the greatest player in the world at second line center, I hope a
Goodbye.
meteor strikes the Bell Center.
Honestly, McDavid could go up to friggin' Kent Hughes tomorrow if they acquire him and tell him to trade Nick Suzuki, and he's saying where.
Yeah. I would include Nick Suzuki as part of that package and say, here you go, and I'll take McDavid. You'd be
Well, no,
dumb
McDavid would
not to
clearly
consider
be
that.
number one in Montreal.
If
You
Kent
put him
Hughes
with
walked up-
Demidov and
one-
somebody
if
else.
they walked up to
It's a
Kent
joke,
Hughes
you know?
and they said, hey, give me 2 first-round
It's a
picks
bad
and Nick
point.
Suzuki, and we'll call it a trade, it was going to take more than that, I think. But I'm taking that deal. If he came to Boston, I might shit. We're not going to get him. But I'm just saying, I would piss myself everywhere. Cam would just be everywhere. It would be nuts. Who comes out on this series, guys? And then we're going to wrap it up.
LA finds a way.
LA in 7 now. I'm getting instead of my 5, I'll bump it to 7.
I already took LA, so yeah,
I think I'd pick the series going to 7 anyway. So
I
I'm
picked it in
gonna-
5.
I'm going to be the only guy that is going to pick Edmonton because for some divine reason in the back of my mind, and you're going to call me crazy, McDavid just
Crazy.
somewhere. Thank you.
not
McDavid is just
crazy.
going to pop off somehow, and he's going to inspire something, and then they're going to lose in the second round.
But they
That's
don't
the only
have
way they
enough.
win that series if their high end talent carries them.
Yeah.
No, the only way they're gonna if the goalie somehow
If
that's
Stuart
not
Skinner
happening.
stands on his head,
he's gonna have to
No,
lift their
Calvin
game.
Pickard.
If their goaltending doesn't get better, I don't see how they win this series.
the only way they win this series is if Wayne Gretzky comes out of retirement, and so does Dominic Hasek.
Yeah, I don't think that'll do it though.
Whatever. All right, final thoughts, gentlemen, before we close out.
We all have thoughts.
I will say this. I think, like I said, the winner of the Colorado Dallas series is going to come out the West. Wait, I said that last week. I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm going to say this. St. Louis, you've earned some respect here. I think they completed, and I think they end up pulling off the next 2 and winning 6. I got to give the Blues their props. I think that team has really showed everyone since the hiring of Jim Montgomery. I thought that was going to be the rebuild team of last year this year that would tear it down. So props to the Blues.
I'm gonna say I think Toronto and oh man, of course now I'm blanking.
Ottawa.
Toronto and Carolina. Sorry, Toronto and Carolina. I think are what because their series haven't been like super physical or anything, but I think they're watching New Jersey. They're watching
Washington and Florida very closely.
Like Washington, Montreal, and like fucking Tampa and Florida just killing each other, and they're just laughing like we're gonna get some beat up team next round.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I think I picked that as my Eastern Conference final, so it's looking good.
Wait, I'm gonna do my best impression of Rick before he goes. Fuck the refs. Is that good? How was that, Rick?
Thanks. Have a good day, everybody.
And that's Rick's final thought. Rick, do you seriously have any final thoughts before we go?
I have no thoughts at all.
Oh, there we go. Well, at least there's some brain activity somewhere in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for episode 67 of the Pucking Around podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment in the comment section. We do read them. We will respond to them. Make sure to email us if you want to get in touch with all of us here at Don't Puck with Media. You can reach out to us at don'tpuckwithmedia.com or email us at puckingaroundpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. What we can improve upon, what Alex can do better, what Rick cannot bitch about, and how Eric can, work on his skincare routine, and just how I can just, find my own way out of this godforsaken
Stop talking.
shit fucking team the Bruins are at the current moment. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us. We love you guys. And until next time, stay golden.
Ciao.